Well, let's transition right now to a Wileyism. And today's Wileyism is don't water your weeds. Don't water your weeds, John. Where does that hit you?
It is a fantastic Wileyism. It's probably my favorite thus far in the show
Yeah.
because people feed the beast. They everyone is haunted by something. And for whatever reason, we refer to them as guilty pleasures. But sometimes guilty pleasures, people often say, oh, that's eating ice cream or something. But sometimes it's like doing heroin, right? And it's look, this isn't just a guilty pleasure. It's like weeds growing in your soul. Like, don't feed that. If you don't want to be a heroin addict, don't do heroin. But you know what happens? You become addicted, you have habits, and you're like, oh, I just did it again. I just fed the weeds. Like you know deep down inside what is right and what is not right. And the hardest thing in life is to admit to yourself that you're wrong. Like, I'm wrong for me. I am wrong. I'm doing something that goes against my code of ethics, whatever that is. You need to identify that and not feed the beast. Don't feed the weeds. Stay away from it. And over time, you can say, this is who I am. And like we said before, Marcellus, when you said, you sort of become who you are before you know who you are. That's the process of killing the weeds.
Man, I love it. I love it. These conversations, man, they just keep getting deeper. And I'm learning so much from them. One of the profound things you said when we were talking about suicide, and you were talking about the thought loop. And it's interesting. I went and saw Jordan Peterson a couple of nights ago, who, I mean, talking about a big brain, talking about a guy who can talk it and just next level in terms of his intelligence. And no matter what people try to do with someone's persona or politicize them, I never get distracted. I'm like, I don't care. I don't have to go all the way with them to their destination, but I'm going on a journey with them. We're going to figure this out. He said something very interesting. He said, people don't have thoughts. Thoughts have people. And I was like, wow, that is so damn true, because you can run a narrative in your head, and through selective perception, that is all you see in this world. That is all you attract in this world. That is all you eat in this world. And it's amazing how many people don't stop themselves from having those damaging thoughts, which leads to those damaging actions, and they don't stop watering the weeds. So then they think that the weeds are like naturally growing there because that's just the way the world goes. No, you can go out there and actually manicure your lawn. You can actually go out there and do something about your mental health. You can actually go out there and do things to give you more fertile ground to exist in. And when I heard this Wileyism, I was like, man, I had done it before in my life, obviously, to keep my discipline. But I still have fleeting thoughts all the time, negative things. You go to church, they tell you it's the devil in your head, but the devil's alive. But you know what? You got to be able to exorcise that demon, kill it yourself, because it's going to continue to come. But don't water the weeds. Make sure you're in a position to live in that fertile soil.
Yeah, what you said is right. And I love the idea that people don't have thoughts, thoughts have people. There's actually an amazing book written by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic. She also wrote Eat, Pray, Love. Big Magic is the idea that ideas and thoughts find people. It's a really cool story, but there's an even better way of looking at it. And I'm getting totally geeky on this, but
Let's
there's
go.
an author named Rupert Sheldrake, Sheldrake, who writes about a principle of morphic resonance that state, and it's not his theory, but he has popularized the idea of morphic resonance, which is, look, your brain isn't coming up with ideas, your brain is receiving them. So just like you look at a television, and if you were to say, where is that picture coming from? It's not coming from the television. It's coming from outside of it, and it's being manifested inside the TV. So when we think about, are our brains coming up with something, or are we receiving the signal? It's a fascinating idea. And when something, some big tragedy happens, it's kind of like when you have a family or a group or even a species that feels like there's a rip in the fabric of space and time, like 9/11, like everyone felt sad because we were all receiving the idea that something horrible had happened. And same thing for like music. When you hear a song and you go, God, that sounds good. Is that because the song is really good, or is it an idea of a song that we all receive very easily? That's it. And I realize we're never going to really come up with the answer, but it's an interesting way to look at the universe.
Oh, beyond interesting. I mean, I right now, I just feel like that emoji, we all text in emojis, the one that go, like that is next level thought right there, and true intentions, man. That's why I love this show. We can really unpack things like that. Like you said, the song you hear at times, you're like, whoa, 9/11. On a different scale, Damar Hamlin, like he had a foundation that had raised, what I heard, like $20,000 before he flatlined on the football field. And last time I checked, and I know it's higher than this, it was at $8 million in like 2 days. Just letting you know how he connected, and everyone watching that just was empathetic in that moment. Man, it's crazy. People out there have to understand, as you said, is the message really coming from the TV? Or is it really just receiving it like our brains?